All right, guys. Episode 1. I have a name for it, but I'm not going to say it just yet. We have to wait to the 4th episode because I have the logo and everything coming in, so I don't want to, just say it and then there's no
It's a surprise.
attire, so it's a surprise. But guest number 1, we got the one and only Justin Sims. Let's go. This is my very good friend Justin. He's helped me out with a lot. He saved my life, and he has a beautiful story, and I just want to be here to share that and let the world see you. So
That's
introduce
awesome.
yourself.
Thanks,
Justin,
man.
and
What would I
yeah.
say after that? He's a beautiful story.
Hey, you have a beautiful
I want to
story,
know
man.
how you saved his life, though.
Yeah, I want to know that too. How did I save your life?
That's a story for another time. But you did. You saved my life, and you helped me out a lot, and then you showed me some very kind generosity on a different, like a deep human level. So, like, for me, it's, I appreciate that for sure.
I think that's where you see somebody's. When I met you, you were going through a tough time
Yeah.
as a person. You know what I mean? I know you as a fighter, as a professional, as a person too. You're a person first,
Yeah.
And before we're an artist or a fighter or anything else. And I saw not as bad of a situation as I put myself in a few years ago, but one that needed a hand, and that's
Yeah.
all. That's all. I never gave you anything, really. I never gave you money. I gave you a hand, literally, like, yo, come here,
Yeah.
and everything I knew was gonna happen from that hand happened.
Yeah. Here we are.
Do you
That's
can I say what happened? Can I say it?
I mean, I want to
Yeah.
concentrate on you.
Okay,
though.
okay,
Let's
okay.
talk
We'll
about
do that
you.
another time.
That's another time. That's another story
Sure
for another
that.
time. But for now, I want to talk about you, brother. Like, you are an Academy Award-winning actor, filmmaker. I mean, you've done it all. You've been in Hollywood, done things of films and everything. So, like, let's start from, like, high school. What was your upbringing like? Where are you from? How'd you get into acting?
Well, the crazy thing. Let's go before high school.
Okay.
So the first time I got paid to act, I was 2 years old. My father was a award-winning director,
Okay.
stage director. God rest his soul, Dennis Sims. So my dad directed plays growing up. So like after school, like a lot of kids go to their parents' job after school. Like my dad's job was directing plays.
Yeah.
So I would go and play in the rows of the theater,
That's awesome.
and I'd watch my dad. And whenever they needed a kid, who do you think they got to play all the kid parts? I mean, you name it, I played it as a kid.
Okay.
I was a munchkin in The Wiz. You know what I mean? Like I was, and then he also directed plays at a church, like a big church in West Palm, and so they needed a kid that could cry, and I was always known as a very emotionally available
You're
actor.
the kid that's crying all the time.
Dude, they would have me run up to the cross,
Yeah.
literally, in front of like
You're only
1,000
2 years
people.
old?
Well, the first time, my first role, I played Jesus. Where do you go from there, right?
Oh, as a baby, I see. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
right, but I had lines and I couldn't read yet. So me and my dad did a memory game. That's how I learned my lines. My dad would we did like a memory type of game. And so, but at an early age, I don't know if it was that first one. I don't think it was that first one. Maybe like by maybe 6 or 7, I had started kind of crying and doing emotional type of acting. You know what I mean? And I was good at it.
Wow.
So I was this cute little kid that they could, run up to the cross when they take Jesus' body off and mourn, you know what I mean? And pass the tithing cups around, all the old ladies get their money, The church was smart.
Yeah.
But by the time high school came, I had probably done 50 plays.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it? Like, did you at this point? Was your dad forcing you to act? Or were
I
just
think
like,
it gave me something. It took away things, I think, because I didn't have like a normal childhood, whatever that is. I don't think anybody has a normal childhood. But it definitely introduced me to creativity. That kind of acting on a deep level is really making yourself believe circumstances that aren't real, but making yourself believe it so much that people believe you believing it.
right?
So like if we did a play right now with like a river flowing in between this table, and we don't have the money to dig up the floor and put water here. So me and you as the actors have to walk up and touch the water and drink the water. And if you and I don't see it as the actors, the audience is never going to see it.
I remember that's kind of how we connected originally, because I was a theater major in college, and then I think I was talking about some play like Oedipus or something, and then you were like, and then you tell me like you have to be the character in order to like think like the person you're acting like. You have to actually become them mind, body, spirit, and everything. I'm just asking you, like, because I aspire to be an actor one day, and I look at you and I see all the things you've achieved and all the tips and tricks you give me. I mean,
Well, we're all actors.
yeah,
All the time, every day. You've been 4 different Mileses today.
yeah. When I woke up,
She
and
might have
now-
been 15. I might have been 20 different people today.
Yeah.
You know, I've been dad today. I've been husband today. I've been friend today. I'm podcast guest right now. I'm going to be comic seller later, video guy this time. You know what I mean? We all wear these masks. That's why, like,
true.
art is so important in education.
Right.
But acting is the most alive art of any art, in
Yeah,
my
man.
opinion.
Yeah.
Because we all walk around with these memories. You know what I mean? These invisible trash bags of good, bad things that have happened in your life. As actors, we can put it down, and I can pull that ex-girlfriend out and say "fuck you"
Yeah,
again
yeah, yeah.
and
You weren't
create
shy
something.
or anything like as a kid? I think that's hard. Like me, I don't think I'll be able to act. Like that's something hard as.
It's difficult.
person
I mean,
that
I was
never grew up.
2 years old in front of thousands of people talking. And you know what I mean? So
You
like
become
there
numb
was,
to it
So maybe you
almost.
got comfortable in that. environment.
yeah, and I think that I had to have.
Yeah.
It was baptism by fire, and I liked it. You know, I think I liked that my dad liked that I was good at it.
Yeah.
I think that I liked the power of it.
Okay.
And it got to an ego point, you know what I mean, at a certain level of acting. I mean, there was a time, I think, but this is when I was deep into drugs and drinking and stuff, where I remember being on subways in New York City when I was in conservatory, and like I'd have just worked with a famous actor like a Pacino, dude. I worked with Al Pacino, and he's like complimenting me, like telling me all this good shit, and I would get on a train, and like I had an hour subway ride home, right? And I'd be on the train, and I'd be like, and this is what I'm thinking. I'd be like, I'm the most alive person on this fucking train right now. I can make anybody on this fucking train feel anything I want
And you believe that.
at any
The
time.
power of
At
the
any
mind.
at any time I want. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
believed that.
Shit.
That's
And the
good.
school you went to, that's not an easy school to get into. I kind of
Circle in the square, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of just hopped over that real quick. That is like statistically one of the hardest schools to
Well,
get
we're at
into,
high
like-
school now. So I went to the Arts High School in West Palm Beach, Dreyfus School of the Arts.
Yeah.
My father, I remember, that's a school you have to audition to. So I auditioned when I was in 7th grade, and I went to that school from 7th to 12th grade.
Right.
Now in Palm Beach County, they have like a middle school and a high school of the arts. It's all separate. When I went there, this is the 90s. I'm 40 now. But this was, yeah, I went from 7th to 12th grade, I was in art school. So
Yeah.
every day I was in school longer than a normal kid because I had acting classes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was the kid that was like not doing good in the other classes
Only
and
acting
skipping
was, like-
school and doing things I wasn't supposed to do and getting in trouble. But then I'd go and not prepare, and then I'd go win an acting award.
So it was like naturally, like you wanted to be there.
Oh yeah,
Be
they
with
wanted to
friends.
they tried to kick me out of that school a couple times, and I had to go in front of like a board and be like, "Look, I'm an actor." This is what I was telling them when I was like in high school. I'd be like, "I'm an actor. I don't need geometry. Like,
Yeah.
who gives a
That's
shit?
actually so
Send
true.
me to summer school for algebra. I'm not
School's like-
here to add."
School, what,
And that
what's
and
school for?
I mean, shit, your attitude worked because the school you went to for college, what like
Well, I didn't need geometry,
yeah,
even though it's called circle in the square. Yeah. But yeah, so for that school, it was
Circle in the
it was audition only. So I had to do a Shakespeare monologue and a monologue, like a contemporary monologue.
yeah.
So I did a monologue from Julius Caesar where Mark Antony is holding,
Oh, that's my favorite part.
yeah, where he's holding the dead like cloth that Caesar was wearing when he got killed,
Oh, not.
and
that
he's
part.
standing in front of the crowd and like crying and
Announcing
telling them
his
that
death.
their king is dead. So here's my chance, right? I'm like 18, 17, 18. I've been crying since I was 2 or 3. So I'm like, like Heisman this audition, you know what I mean? And then the other monologue I did, bear in mind my 2 judges were 2 gay guys. My other monologue was about a guy and his friend beating up a gay guy, like really bad.
That's tough.
Oh, dude, I like scared these men
That's
in this audition. I like
I
scared
have a
them.
question.
Yep.
Like when you act and you have to cry, I mean, you said that you did it fine when you were a kid, but like, do you make yourself cry?
There's
Or
2
how do you, like,
techniques.
cry so
There's
easy?
2 techniques that people are should use. There's something called the magic if, where you're like mentally manipulate yourself to like, let's say you guys are married and he dies. Like in your mind, you're like, what if my husband died?
Okay.
So you make yourself believe like,
yeah.
what if my mom died? Like I'm like, huh, and then just say the lines, and the lines are, don't break up with me. But I'm thinking, what if my mom died? Don't break up with me. You know what I mean? I'm just saying the lines, but internally I'm going, what if my mom died?
It's a real emotion.
Right.
that you're-
So
that
it doesn't matter what the text is. It matters what's happening internally. There's been many times on stage that I cried over a dead dog, but whatever I was saying, my character was going through, what people believed, because I was going through internally burying my dog. But I mean, the other one is called personalizations, and that's where you use something for real. So
Would
if
you
you're,
say it's easy for you or like it's hard?
I would say that it's a crazy thing to get better at, and it's a crazy thing to get used to, because one thing that I've gotten better at over time is it's not about crying. It's about being on a film set and doing 40 takes of an emotional scene. So
Over
having
and
to
over.
be
Oh my
upset
goodness.
for like 3 or 4 hours,
Yeah, you changed like from one emotion to the other.
or just being.
So crazy.
I mean, I've died in a lot of movies. I've killed myself in a lot of movies.
Yeah, you're always dying.
Yeah, but who do you call for a devastated person?
Yeah,
You
man.
call me because I'll go there. Because I have no fear to go there. But I'm in films pouring out tears, snotting, slobbering, no fucks given. Because you can't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because if your life is really destroyed right here, you're not going to care what you look like.
Yeah.
And so that guy in the film, that character doesn't care.
Facts. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we're in college now, right? You got to after high school.
So I went to, a month after high school, I grew up in West Palm. So a month after high school, I packed my life in a U-Haul and I moved to Brooklyn. And I moved there a couple months before school started because I didn't know anyone in New York.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, kind of get my bearings of the city. The problem is my school was very small, and it was in Times Square, and they didn't provide housing. So I had, that's
York.
where the money comes into to that school. Is like, where do you live? Do you rent a closet in Times Square for $3,000 a month? I lived an hour away in Brooklyn, so an hour trade ride each way.
Bet you've seen some crazy shit in Brooklyn in the 90s.
Well, this was in the year 2000. I moved. So I went to a 2-year conservatory. Here's a crazy story for me in New York, and this is why I have a love-hate relationship with New York. So so I graduate. So my school's only 2 years, and there's no grades at this school. There's no A's, B's, C's, D's. They're like, you suck, or you're cut, or you're fucking good, you're staying.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it worked. Like, you're cut, you suck, or like stay, whatever. So like they invited me back for the second year, and I was in the city, and I got cast in a play where I played like 3 or 4 different characters.
Shit.
It was my first play in New York. And our this is so fucking crazy. And the play was called Sisters, and it was at a theater off of Spring Street called the Bread Theater. And our opening night was September 11th, 2001.
Wow.
Jesus. Here we go.
Right.
Man.
So the day 9/11, that morning I had to be at the theater because our opening night was that night.
Yeah.
So I went to the theater like normal, and fucking somebody came in. I'm not going to get into that whole story, but
Yeah.
someone came in the theater. We ended up going on the roof of the theater, fucking saw the first tower fall, ran downstairs.
You were there? No way.
Yeah, oh yeah, my first play in New York was supposed to open 9/11.
Oh my
Yeah.
So
God.
I ran downstairs, looked over to my right, saw a sea of people running. So then I didn't know, dude, I didn't see a plane hit. I didn't know if Godzilla was there, if
Oh,
what the
man.
fuck was happening, if the
How
Russians
old
were
are you?
attacking.
How old are you at
That's
this?
crazy.
I was 19 now.
19. I remember I was like,
So this is
Kid,
between my
baby.
first and second year of acting school.
yeah.
Okay, now get this, right? So this is like a week before school starts, my second year. Okay, now my school's intense, dude. It's acting school, conservatory acting school. We're like, yeah, okay. So my school, Circle in the Square, is in a building on 50th and Broadway in New York called Paramount Plaza. It's a fucking skyscraper.
Yeah.
The school is underneath it. So you're talking, this is a 100+ story building. And this school is like 3 stories underground. 9/11 just happened.
Ooh.
So they had a meeting the first day of school, and they're like, listen, this building, there's all these like important offices and businesses in this building. We could be a targeted building. So we installed all these flashlights that plug into the walls. So in case the building gets crashed and you're all on the bottom of this building under this
Find
rubble,
you.
you can crawl to
Oh.
a flashlight.
Ah,
So this is the New York I was living in.
right.
Okay, where I literally saw the signs on the subway over the next year change from, they went from the couple weeks after 9/11, if you need to talk to somebody about everything that's happening, here's a number to call. If you can't handle everything that's
Oh,
happening,
wow.
call this number.
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
grief line.
It's everywhere.
Or it's everywhere. So a suicide note. Over the next 6 months, that sign turned into a picture of an empty subway seat with a briefcase, nobody sitting there, and it said, "If you see something, say something." Or it would be like a roped off crime scene with like a SWAT robot about to pick up a briefcase, and it would say, "If you don't take your bags, we will."
That's crazy.
Damn.
So that was kind of the evolution of like that next year from my point of view.
Edge and shit, like
Right, and that was also right when I first started really abusing substance.
right.
Was right around that time.
I mean, of course, witnessing something like that. I mean, it's so.
Well, I was one of those
horrific,
great people. I was covered in soot.
Yeah, like, I've seen the movie, you know, and like and I was a kid when it happened, and I lived in Chicago, and there's a Twin Towers in Chicago and Uptown, and I remember like leaving school, and I'm thinking the Twin Towers. I'm like, oh my God, my cousins live in the Twin Towers. I'm like, but I was a child. I couldn't even imagine what's like being an adult, conscious adult, going through that, and you're witnessing this gray smoke.
I had this weird grief, like
screaming.
entitlement after. It was weird. I like came home, bear in mind I'm in New York. I'm not from New York. So that was in September. So I came home that Thanksgiving. I flew home to see my family for the weekend. And there was flags everywhere, man. Remember that shit? After 9/11, everybody put flags and shit everywhere. And
I mean, I don't remember.
And
it too much.
like terrorist hunting licensed hunting terrorist stickers on the back of their pickup trucks. I was pissed off at that.
Yeah.
When I came home and I saw like flags everywhere, I don't know why. I still can't really explain to you why.
I don't remember either.
But I had this kind of like, if you weren't there, you can't grieve like me type of weird entitlement of the situation, and then that was stupid of me.
Yeah.
It took me a good 10 years to really like let go of that experience.
Right. It weighed on you heavy. I mean, just seeing that, just going like thinking about it is crazy. Seeing it happen firsthand, live, like.
Well, what messed me up was 2 weeks before that, I was home. And I was in a home invasion at my friend's house. I was duct taped to a floor during a robbery.
Okay.
And I was making every deal with God that you make to get out of a situation.
Like one would do, yeah.
If you get me out of this, I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. I went through a list of 200 deals with God, and I got out of the situation. And within 2 weeks, I'd done everything I told him I never would do.
How many did you just keep your promise to?
And then I'm watching people bounce off the concrete going,
Oh my God.
that should be me.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like it like fucked me up. It like gave me this weird like masochistic like.
Yeah.
And then I started living my life like an extreme sport. And I was like, and I co-signed it in my head as, you're a fucking actor. You need to experience every extreme in life so that if a director walks up to you and says, what do you know about this? I can go, I know all about it.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what I did for like the next like. I've been sober for 5 years in April.
Okay.
Congratulations.
That's 5
Thank
years.
you. Yeah, that's like. Then it was like 15 years. It was like 15 years of crazy after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. Like you overcame that. That's like a huge reason I wanted to have you on here, because I mean, other than being an incredible person, you have a great journey that you've been through, and I mean, like, and it didn't stop there. You've done so much great things, and now you're filming for Titan FC. You know what I mean? You have a comic
That's been
book
my
show.
best acting performance to date.
You have your own.
Because I didn't know how to turn a camera on when I got hired.
I was gonna ask you that.
I like literally didn't know how to turn a camera on.
And now you do it professionally, and it's.
And I remember sitting there with my wife, and it was like when I was like starting to go, wait a minute, I just got hired by these people, because I was working at a rehab at the time.
Wow.
And I'd kind of told myself, like, I was working like 120 hours a week, and I was helping people.
That's wild, right?
Yeah, it was nonstop. I helped a lot of people, and it helped me more than it helped to them. And it definitely strengthened my sobriety, because 5 years ago I was a homeless drunk guy.
Yeah.
And now I'm a relied upon. I think the only reason why I'm in any of the positions I'm in is not because of my talent or anything like that. It's because I'm super reliable. And it's because I pride myself in the fact that I never was reliable
Before.
ever. And now I'm like,
You are very
the
reliable.
most reliable guy.
Call Justin, it'll get done. Yeah, man.
if I give you my word on something, I'll be there.
That's true. That's true. 100%.
And it's because I never was, dude. I was a liar and a thief and
Now you're a loving father. You know what I mean? Filmmaker, actor.
Well, I think with anybody, you got to find out what's holding you back from what you want.
Yeah.
And you got to kill that.
What would you say that made you like make that decision that you wanted to change your life and just?
My best friend died of an overdose, and my dad died 6 months after that.
Ooh.
And I was homeless. and I was out of tricks. I was out of places to run. I was out of. I mean, the truth is I was running from God.
Do you believe in God now? Do you
Oh
feel
yeah,
like he's like,
I always believed in God, but I was running from God,
yeah.
and no matter how fast I ran, he was always on my ass, dude.
Yeah. Sometimes
know?
we just do things and we don't notice that we're like getting away from God.
I mean, I'm so grateful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I knew it was God too, because I went to a halfway. I was gonna kill myself. I was at a train station. I was gonna jump in front of the next train that came by.
Oh my God.
And I called my mom, which was really stupid because I should have gone further down the track.
Yeah.
Because like the train stations where this train is the slowest, so it would have been like running me over like really slowly.
That would sucked.
So it probably wouldn't have killed me. I'd have been like, no.
Oh, fuck.
I should have gone further down the track where the
yeah.
train's like fucking running at high
This
speed.
is not
You should have not.
a
wait.
tutorial
I'm
on
just
how
not-
to kill yourself, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just not good at suicide.
It's not.
But so nonetheless, I'm at the train
Talk
station.
to somebody. There you go.
I did, thank God. I had nobody else to call. I was, living in hotels and on the street, and just the liquor bottle was empty, and the bags were empty, and I was pretty beat up. I was empty.
Yeah.
You were like at the rock bottom.
Yeah, I was spiritually bankrupt, man.
It happened.
And I was literally at a train station across the street from where my dad's funeral was, and on the same street where my best friend who just died grew up, or like not grew up, where he lived with his mom.
Wow.
So like, and I used to call it Angel Avenue, like this intersection. And I was
real
gonna
deep, man.
I was gonna have this like romantic, artistic, drunken death there.
Yeah.
And
God had other plans for you.
I called my mom. I went to a halfway house that night, and I looked in the Bible. I started reading the Bible that night, and I'd read the Bible a bunch before that, but it was the first time that I found alcoholism in the Bible. And I found a quote in Proverbs that said, "Do not gaze at your wine when it sparkles in its cup, for it strikes like a snake and poisons like viper. You will be like one up on the high rigging. You will wake up and say, 'Who hit me? But I'm not hurt. When can I have another drink?'" And I said, "Oh shit!" So that was the beginning of the door opening.
It's like God talking to you.
Yeah. But so that happened, and obviously, my wife, we were friends for 17, 18 years before we dated, and
That's awesome.
and she started dating me like a month into my sobriety,
Funny.
which is weird. I stole her car at one point, like 10 years ago. I like stole her car, like chased by the cops, like crashed the car. They never caught me.
Oh man.
I was
Hey,
like,
shouts out.
Hey, I was like swimming in canals and shit that night, dude. I remember like pieces that night. I like ate like a million Xanax and like drank like up too much,
Damn.
and like took her car for a joyride.
And you got away with
And we were friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a good call.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's
But
not
nonetheless,
how you
now
do
she's
it.
my wife with
Yeah.
kids in the house, and it's like I tell people the story, and it's so fucking
Shouts
crazy.
out, Jess. Shouts out,
Love
Jess. She
you
couldn't
so
be
much,
here,
but yeah, like,
she's-
it's-
next time she'll be here for sure.
It's such a
awesome.
wild story, man. Like,
Yeah.
so she's been with me the whole time of this new life journey, and it's been I don't know if I could have done it without her. So
That's
that was clutch having somebody. And they tell you not to get in relationships for like the first year in recovery, but like that was not a normal relationship.
Yeah.
Like she watched my dumb ass for 17
She's
years.
your friend already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, so.
Cool.
She watched you evolve.
And besides that, we're still together with a
Yeah.
family, and
Yeah.
so we're
cool.
breaking that
Had a
shit.
beautiful
We're
family,
breaking
man.
that stat.
Yeah, bro. Sims Comics and your comic book store. We kind of like, it's a brief overlay. I mean, we kind of skipped a lot of parts, but in general, I wanted to get to your comic books. You're selling comic books now, and you're
Yes.
really into it. You're passionate about it. I love it. Let's talk about
Well,
it.
I mean, like the camera thing with Titan, I have to talk about that for a
Of
second
course,
too,
yeah.
because what it proved to me is that if you're genuinely not a piece of shit
Yeah.
and you do your best every day, like that's literally all we have to do. Like as far as my sobriety, dude, like I really don't have to do anything except stay away from the first drink. It's
Yeah.
that simple. If I don't take the first drink, I
You
can't
won't
get
have to-
drunk.
Yeah.
I just stay away from the first one. That's simplified for me. The Titan thing proved to me that I can walk in rooms with people I don't know where everybody can kick my ass, including the women. Where I don't know what I'm doing, dude. I'm here to drink this coffee, and I don't know how to drink coffee.
Yeah.
So inside my head, I panicked. Like, what am I doing? But I overcame that. I wrestled with it. So that told me I can do it with anything.
The power of the mind.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So I walked in my first comic book store in January last year, and now I sell like 1,000 comic books a
and
week
you're
from
good
my
at it.
house.
And you're good at it. And
I
it's
didn't
like,
know that.
Yeah, I have 2 comic shows a week.
awesome.
My wife and I do we're on this platform called Whatnot.
Yeah, tag all your like your.
Well, it's hard
Instagram
to get
and
a show
everything.
on Whatnot. It's like really, so we got a show like
Yeah.
on
Is your
Whatnot.
wife into the same type of things too? Like
She's
acting?
nuts like me, man. She's into filming and she's really like,
She's a great writer, director.
yeah, she's, you know, we made a film loosely based on my story, and it stars me and UFC fighter Dean Thomas, and it won like 12 film awards. So my wife was a big part of that.
What's the name of the film?
The film's called The Edge of Madness, and
Yeah,
we
we're
sold it. Yeah, we sold it to a rehab.
Yeah.
So you can see it on YouTube at Daylight Detox and Recovery's YouTube page. And I don't know if people have seen that film. It's a special film.
It's a great film.
It helped a lot of people. It's a special film, man.
So cool.
And also you get to
Yeah.
kind of get a glimpse into what I mean by I'll go there emotionally, you know, as an
Yeah.
actor and
It's a
not
great movie, man.
and not care, you know.
It
But that
opens
wasn't
your eyes
really
to, you know,
acting either.
Yeah.
But the whole point of acting is not to act, right?
that's exactly rule number 1.
Right. And you know that,
Yeah.
you know.
I remember we connected on improv, how to act on improv, and especially when you're doing an improv show, the answer is always yes. You can't say no, because if you say no, then you're ruining the flow.
Right. You always have to accept what your partner's giving you.
Yeah.
And better than yes and.
Yeah.
Add to it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't deny you, if you bounce the ball to me and I don't go no, I go yes and
Yeah.
I just hit the ball back to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, and we're going to do this now.
It's a crazy art. I really want to dive into it more when I have more time, but it's something that's really special. And a lot of people kind of there's not a big light on it as many people I think it should be at this point in time.
I
you
agree.
know what I mean?
But I think it's something that's transparent
Super
and
cool.
or transferable in life.
Yeah.
You can use improv in everything.
Yeah, because stand-up comedy, you've done that. You've been like all over the.
I haven't.
Or you didn't do stand-up. You opened for a stand-up comedy, or was it?
No, I used to be the microphone guy at the improv. So I like introduced like Chris Rock and a bunch of famous
Chris Rock.
a bunch of famous
man.
comedians at one point. But I mean that's the thing
Sorry,
is
Chris
even when I was partying like a rock star, I was
Yeah.
still doing some cool shit.
No, you
At
have,
some
like,
point.
We've kind of
But-
like skipped over a lot of holes, and dude, I'm gonna have you back on the show no matter what.
This is
you
super
might be,
dope,
like,
by the
a
way.
recurring like character on this show. Like you have to come back like constantly.
Don't do it. It's not going to be good for your ratings.
Yeah.
You guys know
Yeah.
way cooler people than me.
Yeah, man.
Trust.
Oh my God, we ran out of time, but I wish we had more. Justin, where could people find you? What's like your Instagram, your whatnot, everything?
I mean, the Whatnot app is free. So I suggest anybody that's into collectibles, and I mean collectibles, anything, sports cards, Pokemon, action figures, comic books,
yeah,
Sims Guy Comics. So Sims Guy Comics on Whatnot, Sims Guy Comics on Instagram. Justin Sims, Sims, is where you can find me. I don't promote myself. Like,
you should.
I've known her for 3 years. She found out today I was an actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
You
was
should.
by design, though.
You should. You have
I mean,
to. You have to put it
I've
out
seen
there.
you like in the fights, but we never got really like to talk about personal stuff.
Well, you're always
Actually,
doing
like
shit, and I'm always doing shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my life is crazy. My schedule is crazy.
But I've always she's like one of like 50 people that I'm always like, I respect her. She respects me. We always say what's up. But
Yeah.
she's always working, and we work in the same environment, but different
the hustle.
departments.
Yes, true.
It's the
It's respect,
The
though, and it's
grind.
love,
the
dude.
grind life here.
Like, she knows I'm a good dude.
Oh,
You
yeah,
are.
for
You
sure.
are.
I know she's a good person.
She is.
You know what I mean?
That's why she's here.
But that takes time, man, to know that about somebody. Consistency is...
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, shit, we're getting a little offhand.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. So whatnot?
Sims Guy
Sims
Comics
Guy Comics.
on Instagram.
What comic books you selling? Because I know you have a lot of slabs. You got some fresh stuff coming in all the time.
I sell every kind of comic book.
What's your favorite? Like real quick, just.
I mean, dude...
if you can briefly summarize, like, what's comic books you have sold? Would you plan to sell in the future?
I've
you have
sell-
slabs. You have.
I've sold
graded
comic books that are
comics.
worth $1,000, and I've sold comic books that are worth $1.
Yeah.
I've sold comic books from the 1930s all the way up to ones that just came out last week. I sell comics with boobs on them. I sell comics that are foily and
That's
flashy and
everybody.
cool looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I sell graded comics. We give away a lot.
Signed.
We give away a lot of signed stuff. My wife makes cookies.
Oh wow.
So you get freshly baked cookies with your comic books. So
Hey.
in Alaska, that just goes to, because when you mail comics, it's not like mailing anything else. So we pride ourselves in mailing stuff, how we mail.
Yeah.
But we have shows every Monday night and every Friday night
At whatnot.
at Whatnot. But see, that keeps me good.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. I got
Yeah.
2 shows a week on top of my filming.
Yeah.
So I'm always in a show, bro. I'm always in show mode.
The grind, man.
But it goes back to that kid playing in the aisles at the theater.
Yeah.
I need that show. I need to be mission-minded. If I don't have a mission going on, and I think that's with fighters too. If you guys don't have something you're working towards, you're going to get in trouble, bro.
Yeah.
Sure,
You're going to find fucking trouble.
Stay busy always.
I have to.
Yeah.
If I'm not busy, come and shake me.
Exactly.
Right now, I'm too busy to do anything else.
Yeah.
That's probably
That's
healthy.
good. That's a good thing though. It's like,
That's
man,
healthy,
you get to that point in your life where you just like kind of. I'm in that process too, man. I'm trying to get it out how I get it, man. So.
But what I do with the comic to simplify it is I take $500 twice a week, and I buy $500 worth of comics, and then I sell it for $2,000. So that's what I do twice a week.
We're definitely gonna dive into like how the mechanics of that next time Justin's on this show, man. We have a lot to learn from this guy. He's a very cool man. Very trustworthy guy.
A lot of surprises. I didn't.
Yeah,
know.
a lot of
It's
surprises.
actually really cool to listen to.
There's way more.
of your
There's
life.
way more to your story.
We're closer
too.
now.
Yes.
Yeah, man. There's way more to your story, and we're gonna continue down this path. And then
I'm excited about this show. This show
Yo,
is gonna be fire.
I have a name. I'm just gonna episode 4.
I'm
It'll come
excited
out.
to listen to the name.
Oh, it's gonna be a good name. Good logo. We got everything coming. But you know, I want to get the first few episodes out of the way because I was a little anxious. I should have waited a little bit, but nah.
I'll be tuned in.
that.
But I'll say this about the fight game, and this goes to guys like you, women like her, people like Charles Rosa, Dimitri, Charles McCarthy, Lex McMahon. These are people that I'm around every day, all day. Not every day, but you know what I mean, constantly.
Yeah.
You are what you
Often.
surround yourself with.
Exactly.
These are mission-minded people that want to be the best version of themselves. I used to try to fight the world. It's really about Miles today versus Miles yesterday.
Of course.
Exactly. Your own opponent.
That's
every
it.
day.
That's it. I'm not the kid that doesn't know how to turn a camera on anymore. This version is better than that version.
Oh.
That's our cue.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thank you, Justin. That was awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.
You'll be on soon again, and we'll have it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's episode number 1.